We all know the story of Cyberpunk 2077. You know the one. The game that got overhyped and turned out to be just a massive disappointment, crushing the hearts, the minds, and the souls of all of the excited gamers ready to play the new game. But that was a long time ago. And since then, the game has had a lot of time to get better, right? Right? Well, I guess there's only one way to find out and see. Join me, your friendly Buffalo Flats, to figure out if Cyberpunk 2077 is good now. Now, I downloaded Cyberpunk because it was on sale for $30 on the Microsoft Store. I had nothing better to do, and I said, why not give it a chance? It's on sale. So I booted up the game, created a new character, and sat in blissful ignorance for what my virgin eyes were about to see. All in all, the Cyberpunk customization is actually really good. And Cyberpunk has all of the important character customization options. You can give them long fingernails. You can change the color of their teeth. And most importantly, you can add or take off your character's nipples. If you like to spend 30 minutes meticulously creating a character you like, you can do it that way. Or you can just click random and have your character look like they just walked out of the insane asylum. The cool thing is you can do it however you want. Players should have the freedom to play the character they want in a role-playing game. But much, much more importantly, you can give yourself different male or female genitals. Big wiener, small wiener, or regular wiener. And you can also change your pube hair. Now let's talk about one of the big issues that still has not been fixed, and that is armor. Your character will always look like an idiot if you want to have good stats. In Skyrim, you can get some cool armor. In Dragon Age Inquisition, you can get some cool armor. In Kingdom Come Deliverance, you can get some cool armor. But in those other games, the cool armor matches your level. In Cyberpunk, the armor is randomly assigned with the stats. So you can get a really cool helmet at a really low level, and then get a really ugly looking helmet, or some random helmet that doesn't match at a really high level. You can not care about stats and make your character look dope, but as you level up, your armor is going to suck. So you do have to make a trade-off one way or the other. Another problem I had with the game, more of a personal nitpick, is the car's traction. Most cars don't have very good traction. It varies from car to car, but most cars are pretty bad. Even the fast cars with decent traction could be better personally. I spent most of my time driving a motorcycle because they are 10 times easier to control and they have really good traction. I will say as I put more hours into the game and I got better at driving the cars, it is very rewarding. And it's really fun to drift into the turns and do them really well. But that doesn't mean driving is all bad. In fact, I love driving. I rarely ever fast traveled, and I would just drive around, even if I hated the vehicle I was in, because I really enjoyed the world around me. The world in this game is amazing, but I'll get more into that later. Because now it's time to get into the meat of this video, the sweet and juicy that we have all been wondering about since the launch of Cyberpunk 2077. The elephant in the room that caused the downfall of the product itself. The monster that hides under your bed. The demons that you drink to get away from. Your worst fears. Your worst nightmares. I'm talking about bugs. I really didn't have that many bad bugs. I had one game-breaking bug, and I just reloaded the most recent save and it was fixed. And I have 50 plus hours in the game. Aside from that, I had some NPCs floating in the air, sitting about 2 or 3 feet above benches. Maybe some textures flickering from black to the texture, back and forth very quickly. And maybe some NPCs glitching left or right or just standing in places that they shouldn't be. But aside from that, I really didn't have any bugs. And when I did have bugs, they were fairly rare. I recently just replayed Skyrim and I had more bugs in Skyrim than I had in this game. But I view that as par for the course in an open world game, sort of like Cyberpunk. And I understand the game was overhyped, and that will always affect the game's reputation. But many improvements have been made. Patches have been given out, as well as some free content, like additional cars and apartments for you to obtain. That being said, there isn't much more that I disliked about the game. There were some quests that I would call world quests, where the entirety of the quest is fight some enemies, loot them, and pick up what they have in a crate, and that's the whole quest, which sounds pretty stale if you ask me. There's other quests called gigs that I would split into two categories. One of them is cyber psycho quests, and then the other one is a gig. For cyber psycho quests, you basically just fight somebody who's either gone crazy, is power hungry, or straight up a murderer who has advanced cybernetics implanted into their bodies, so they're tougher than regular enemies. And a gig is basically when a crime boss of a specific area of the city, called a fixer, hires a mercenary to do a crime or some other form of mercenary work for payment. Some of these can be really boring, but some of them actually have unique twists that are surprising and keeps you young and sprung, that give you some pep in your step. The quest can range to go into this building, kill these people, but sometimes you can get a bonus if you sneak in without getting caught. Which brings me to the stealth mechanic in the game.
I think I have a protein drink and hit the shower.
I was very happy with how the stealth mechanics played out in this game. It's similar to other open world games where you just crouch, try and sneak around, stay behind the enemy's line of sight. But in the mini-map, you can see the enemy's line of sight. Also, because of your cybernetics, you have the ability to do quick hacks, so you can hack into cameras and see from another point of view. You can tag enemies, and once enemies are tagged, you can see them through walls. You can tag them through your scanner, or you can tag them through a camera. You can also turn mines and turrets against enemies and make them friendly. You can short-circuit regular enemies and turrets and robotic enemies. There's so many different ways to fight enemies as well as sneak around the game. And many of these quests have multiple paths that you can take to accomplish your goal. Which leads me to the main quest and the side quest. The main quest, of course, is the main story throughout the game, and the side quests are significant quests that have their own small story arcs and will sometimes introduce side characters into the game. Which leads me to my absolute favorite aspects of the game. First is side characters, like Jackie Wells, River Ward, Panam Palmer, my personal favorite, Goro Takamura, and last but not least, Johnny Silverhand. All the characters I've mentioned have their own arcs and are also written very well. Goro's voice acting is phenomenal, and Johnny Silverhands is also very good. Seriously, listen to this.
Do you see it? That cat?
Fine-looking feline. Thought they'd all disappeared from the city.
It is the first animal I see in Night City, except cockroaches, of course.
First it was birds, then dogs. Cats actually put up a fight longest.
Perhaps it is a bakeneko.
A bakaneko? What's that?
It is a cat spirit. It brings misfortune, can restore the dead back to life.
Feline ghost? I suppose anything's possible.
My grandmother knew many stories about kitsune, kappa, bakeneko too.
Where'd you grow up, anyway?
I am from the slums of Chiba 11. Once when I was desperate to live there, bad memories washed away by time. I long only for the simple days of childhood.
Same here, Goro. I also long for the simple days of childhood. But let's go on to Johnny Silverhand's lines.
We could talk in circles, but who cares what we think? What would it change? Corpse will continue to grow rich off his type, and the masses will live on with their pipe dreams.
Hang on, where's Rebel Johnny? Seem to have lost him.
Well, I found him. He's inside that guy. He's the real rebel.
Make up your mind. Which is it, Nutjob or Messiah?
He's fucked in the head. The world's fucked in the head. And you're fucked in the head because my fucked up head is inside it. Guess if you want to save the world, that's the first step. Get fucked in the head.
Pretty good, right? I was also surprised at how much depth Johnny Silverhand had. Going into the game, I assumed Keanu Reeves was just going to make a cameo as Johnny, but he plays a much larger part than I had originally thought. Not only that, he is in a lot of side quests, and he will put his input in a lot of things that you do. I'm telling you, the story really is fantastic, and the bad reputation the game got from its release really overshadowed how good the story is. I will say one beef that I did have with the game is that the story's pacing is all over the place. The prologue, great. Early game, great. Mid game, kind of goes by, and then next thing you know, boom, you're at the very end. I was very surprised and kind of frustrated with that. So my advice to you is mainly focus on the side quests, and then the world quests, and then get your money, get everything you want, customizable, roleplay wise, and then do the main quests. But another thing that is really, really good about Cyberpunk is its world. And to prove it to you, let's take a quick royalty-free break and look at it. So is Cyberpunk 2077 a good game? Should you give the game a second chance? Or even a first chance? I don't know. I thought it kind of sucked. Just kidding. The game is actually totally worth your time and you should give it a shot. I genuinely had a blast playing it. The overall strengths are the beautiful world, the voice acting, and the main story and side quests, and the weaknesses are the really bad armor mechanics and some bugs here and there. But overall, the game really is awesome, and I am glad that I ended up playing it. So I'm just going to get straight to the point. This is my first video that I have ever made. I've never edited in my life, so I'm learning everything from the bottom up. And I know the video is not perfect. In fact, it's pretty far from perfect. It's closer to being a trash fire. But I really do appreciate y'all giving me a chance. I do want to make improvements to my videos. First of all, start maybe making scripts or planning my dialogue a little more, or have more categories in which I'm going to structure the dialogue. So have a topic about the world and explain the world in a more succinct way than I have in this video. Or start with character creation like I did, then move to the world, then move to certain mechanics in the game, combat, stealth, just the big main ones. Because I just do not have the computer able to build a 2.5 hour long video explaining every tiny aspect of a game. I see the aspects of my videos that suck and some of my own insufficiencies as a creator. You would be surprised how hard it was for me to do the audio. Audio is something I'm definitely going to work on. Of course, I'm brand new and I'm trying to figure out the whole ecosystem, trying to figure out what's going on. But we don't need to talk about that. I appreciate y'all checking out the video. So, see you on the flip side.